Good morning. Well, it's morning here. I thought it was about time that we did I think it's like a year update on the Waterbox Frag 104. 104, 105, something like that. Yes, I think it's time to have a little look. There's been some good things, there's been some bad things. Ultimately, I'm using this as like a frag system to hold my the frags that I'm selling online. So I want to give a massive thank you to anybody who's placed an order, making a massive difference. And yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, and then I'm going to give you sort of my year update of the Waterbox frag system.
So I've got 5 fish in this tank. I've got a fox face, I've got a leopard wrasse, really good for picking off any pests. I've got a 6-line wrasse, again all wrasse are really good for picking at the corals. I've got a mandarin, just the spotted mandarin, again really good. And I've got a sand sifting pink spot goby. So here it is with no lights on, no frills. I've got 2 Radiant XR15s, the Gen 5s. They're doing an amazing job. The spread seems to be really good on this tank. I really like the dimensions. You can see it's next to the Red Sea, and it's a lot shallower, I can get to the bottom. You can see I've actually got sand in the bottom, and that's because I wanted to put some wrasse in here, just because they're good for picking off any little pests that might get into the tank. And I don't have sand in my other tank, so it was just because I do have a kind of a small little aquascape section. I've found, because it's still a really new system and it's a much smaller system as well, that it stays more stable having sand in. So it meant that I was able to get like SPS corals in here much quicker, and actually some NPS corals over here have been doing really well. It's the first time I've really had like a good amount of success with the NPS corals, so that's really good. I'm just using egg crate. I've got these little 3D printed things at the bottom here which just help the egg crate stay off the sand, and that's just really nice for my my corals, really, just so that they don't get kicked or don't have sand kicked all over them from the wrasse that tend to bury themselves in the sand. The one problem here that I have had with this tank, well, first of all, the Red Sea lids I just can't make them properly anyway, and my light brackets stick up too much, so I can't fit the lid properly. So I've had one fish that's, carpet surf, and unfortunately I wasn't here to save the poor little thing, so that's one wrasse down. So yeah, you can see sort of in the corner there, like, it just doesn't touch because of the light brackets. I mean, I really should make the light. Well, I need to get in there and try and fix that. Really, that's another job for me. But anyway, but the other issue that I've had with this tank is, well, there's 2 that do bother me. Is I've got carpet. Now you see here on the Red Sea tank, the doors are higher, so if you throw your towel on the floor or anything like that, the doors will just sort of, they'll open over it. You know, I've got, see my foot there, like, you can just go over the top of it and it's fine. Whereas these doors go all the way to the floor, so they're the same length as the tank. Now what's happened is, over the course of a year, the tank is level, it's on a concrete floor. I mean, I really don't care about this carpet. It's like not part of my 5-year plan anyway to be keeping this awful carpet. It would be fine on a wooden floor that was all completely level. But what's happened is it's sunk into the carpet, because obviously there's a tremendous amount of weight in these tanks. So what's happened is you cannot pull the door open without it sort of snagging onto the thick carpet. So over the last year, because they've got good push fit doors, so they don't really come out that easily, and what's happened is this one has taken a massive turn, and as you can see, it's detached itself from the other wall of the tank. So yeah, not great. And of course it means that now I can't shut the door flush. Here's the I don't know where it is, there's the things that pop out. So a bit of a pain in the bum in that respect. So I'm toying with the idea to just remove the doors entirely, and maybe sort of it'll make me have it all nice and neat, and then I can have all of this area on display. There's some good things about the sump. What I've noticed, or what I've found when I've been watching loads of BRS TV, and they say that skimmer socks are only really effective if they're being changed every day, and I think that's like really one of the things why there's no PO4 in this tank, or no phosphate, is because I've been changing the filter socks out pretty much daily, and it has made such a difference. But I have to change the filter socks in this tank daily. I've been going with a turkey baster and fluffing up the sand every day just to try and make it stay as sort of crystal clear, nice and white. But what happens is all the detritus comes up into these filter socks and obviously blocks them quite quickly, and then I have a fear of it overflowing. I'm sure it can't, but when I put my hand in to change the filter socks, the level is massively raised at the back chamber, and there's some salt creep at the back, which worries me. So I think that actually, either don't run the filter socks so it can't do that, or you have to change them every day, which has caused more maintenance. I'm running my Kalkwasser stirrer inside my auto top-up chamber, which is pretty much that, and a small amount of trace elements and a little bit of amino acids, and that's what this tank is getting. I think this skimmer is amazing. I've had no problems with it. It's a recirculating high door skimmer. I think they're massively underrated. It's doing an amazing job. I think there's the water height in the skimmer chamber is, I think it's 9 inches, so it's sort of about standard really. But as this is a recirculating skimmer, it can be operated out of the tank or in the tank, as I've got it. It was a skimmer I used on my seahorse breeding systems a few years ago, and I had it, and I just sort of took it out of action. So I've recommissioned it, and it's doing an absolutely awesome job. I've connected this tank to a PM1 module with a link, so it can all be run off my Apex, and so I can get all the alarms. It doesn't have the pH, but it's got the temperature. I could add the pH, but I've got that running my calcium reactor on my other tank. So, and I've just got like the really old Jerboa manual doser, which has never seen me wrong either. It seems to be one, like, you don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi disconnecting or anything like that. It seems to just work, so long may that survive. But yeah, ultimately, I just love the look of this tank. I just wish the doors weren't all the way to the bottom, because you have to think about it, you see, because you have to bring your towels, you have to lay them down, and then you forget that you've got to then open the doors, then you have to move all your towels, and you have to open the doors, and you have to put all the towels down, and it just becomes a massive faff. I mean, I've got a tiny flat anyway with all these tanks, so I have to move plants and things out of the way, but and I do this sort of daily. But I really, I'm going to show, like, obviously some of the corals and everything, and it's just looking spot on. And for a tank that's, I think, just under a year old, it's doing really, really well, especially seeing as there's stuff in and out of this system all the time. So I manually test this tank, because I have to test it, every time I've sold stuff, then I have to put stuff in and take stuff out. So yeah, ultimately, it's an amazing tank. I really recommend these systems. I'm just a bit gutted about the door, but that might just be my problem. So yeah, so that's it. That's my tank after 1 year, well, almost 1 year.
And it has done really well. I think putting sand in it's made it mature enough for SPS corals to do well. I've got aquapora and things like that in here, which are, you know, really sensitive. And because the way I do the water changes on this tank is I do a 20% water change on my Red Sea tank, and I actually just move the water over. So every week it's kind of just moving over all the time. So I want it to be the same. If I could plumb it into it, I'd have it as the same system. But that seems to be working. In fact, the water, well, the phosphate and the nitrate seem to be less in this tank, but that might be because there's a sort of a lower fish load. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, continue to like, share, and subscribe to these buttons. If yeah, it makes a massive difference. Really, you know, if you're on the fence, just hit the subscribe button. Just do it. It's free. It massively helps me out. And that's it. Hopefully. I'm going to have another video out really soon. I'm in the process of updating the website. There should be loads more corals on there soon. I'm even doing some beginner starter SPS packs as well, because I've been doing a mega change to the Red Sea Reefer 525 XL. I think I got that right. And so yeah, so I've been really ripping out the skate, and of course that means I've been fragging loads of coral at the same time. So there's going to be loads available, and that should be up very soon. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, and I will be back very soon.